All right, we're going to get into the tensor fascia lata muscle, or part of the iliotibial band. So in the thigh, we have this very thick, dense connective tissue that runs from our hip bone here down into our lower leg and hooks onto that fibula here. So what we're going to do is focus on two different areas. The actual band itself, like I said, very thick, very dense connective tissue. It doesn't really deform a whole lot. So the best way for us to affect this structure is going to be working into the muscles that are embedded within this or that attach directly onto this fascial, this connective tissue. So the best way that we can start is with this little muscle up at the front of the hip called tensor fasciae lata. Now the best way to find this muscle, this little guy, is to sit with your feet out in front, and we're going to do some windshield wipers with our foot. You're going to roll your foot in and out, and as you bring your foot in, you'll notice that this muscle will pop up into your thumb if you place your hand kind of on the outer side. So that's the muscle we're going to start to work with. Now the best way to get into this is a couple different ways. We could start standing, which is going to be less pressure, so we'll go up to the wall. So we'll go up against the wall. Now we're going to try to angle our body. If we were to face our lateral line against the wall, we would rotate our body or our chest towards the wall about 45 degrees. And we'll place the ball right into that muscle. Again, you can do that windshield wiper movement to pinpoint where that muscle is going to be. As soon as you find where it is, we're actually going to bend the knee to relax that muscle. If your knee is straight and locked, it's actually going to push you out of this area, and you won't be able to work into the fascial restriction. Now my outside leg is doing all the work here. I can even rest my hand against the wall just for a little more stability. And I'm just going to sink in as I press my outside leg into the wall. And from there we're going to breathe. Now it's not uncommon for this point to refer out into the hip, sometimes into the low back. It's a pretty tight muscle for most people. It can actually be shortened a little bit from being in a seated posture all day. So once we've isolated that, we're breathing, just a couple minutes, and we're going to come out nice and easy. Now from there, the other area we can work into this muscle is going to be right at the base of the knee. This was kind of like what we did when we did our hamstring group, where we sat in a chair. So I'm going to go grab a chair. So basically the IT band is this big old chunk of connective tissue right here. And when we were doing our hamstring groups, we were looking for those ropes. We're going to do the same thing. And on the outside of the knee, you're going to have one that's lower down. That first little guitar string that you feel, that's going to be part of the hamstring group. Now there's going to be a little divot and then another piece of connective tissue that feels kind of like a rope. So our goal is going to be to sneak up in between those two structures and try to get up and in. And as we do so, we're going to start to rotate our knee in and out. So with the ball, we're going to find that point, get to a point where you can rest the leg and sink into that tissue. And from here we can start to internally, externally rotate to isolate the point and get to that dull, achy, spreading sensation. Once we've found it, we're going to roll our toes inward from the bottom part of the leg. If you want to get a little more tension, you can start to flex and extend here. Again, everybody's a little bit different as far as the fine tuning is concerned. For me, it's right about there. And you can actually pull the same way we did for that fibularis muscle. We're going to bring the toe up and in, and that will start to pull and increase tension at this distant site. So you'll start to notice that we can move parts of the body away, from a distant area that'll affect the area that we're working on as we start working up this chain. Again, now we're breathing. A lot of the times this area will refer into the knee. It can refer down into the ankle as well. Sometimes it can go up towards the hip. It can be a pretty intense trigger point in this region. All right, we've worked that out. Make sure there's no other areas. Again, like 1 or 2 points can be nearby each other. But those are basically the 2 points that you're going to be focusing on for that IT band. So a lot of people will kind of roll on the IT band itself. You're going to be wasting your time doing that. Again, it's a very dense connective tissue that doesn't really get a lot of stretch. You could basically pull a semi with this thing with the amount of tensile force it has. So for you to think you're going to use a foam roller to actually stretch it, good luck. But what we can do is use, think outside the box a little bit and get into the tissues that insert into this, this connective tissue to actually help release it and open up the lateral line. All right, let's get into the next one.